Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at how the RockyMounts GuideRail 3-bike platform rack fits on the 2019 Toyota Highlander. So this is going to be a useful rack if you want something that's easy to put your bikes on and off of, and you can carry up to 3 bikes with this rack. It has some downsides too, like a slightly decreased weight capacity, as well as your versatility with some of your different bikes. So we'll talk about that, focusing on the Highlander. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is the tilt-away feature. We have a handle towards the center of the rack, so it's kind of hard to reach it. So pull that handle and then let this drop down to the ground. You've got a very deep tilt here though, which is good because even with your larger hatch door on your Highlander, you're still able to open it up. Look at how much clearance we have between the door, the pedals, and the handlebars. Now is a great time to grab like your groceries, your waters, your helmets, or switch out your shoes. Once you're done, you just bring this down and then bring the rack up. Check out the full demo where I explain how difficult it could be to lift this up when you have 3 bikes loaded. That is going to be the downside of this style of a rack. Now, the way this holds on to your bikes though is it has a dual wheel mount design, meaning you have these little levers holding onto your front and your rear wheel and holding them tight. So what I do is I push on these just to disengage the wheel mounts, and then I can flip this open and push the entire mount out. So that's 1, and then we'll go over to 2. And that way, you don't have to deal with straps or knobs. You just grab your bike and go. You can even take the middle one out while the other ones are loaded as needed. When you take the add-on off, you are then able to carry 2 bikes of 60 pounds each. Now for the tire width though, if you notice the trays, they're helpful for moving those bikes back and forth, but they're kind of thin. The maximum tire width you can carry with this is going to be up to 3 inches. But you have a really long wheelbase. So for those longer mountain bikes, this is actually really good for that. Notice how soon it starts ratcheting compared to something like the Kuat Piston Pro X, which has a shorter wheelbase capacity. This one has a longer one. With that all in place, you've got that stadium style to give you better clearance between your bikes, and it is a little further out from your vehicle though. So let's take some quick measurements. I like to measure from the bumper to the end of the rack to see how much length is added. Here, it's 43 inches. So if you have a smaller garage with this slightly larger vehicle, you might have a tight fit. Ground clearance though, I'm not as concerned about this hitting the ground. I'm more concerned about how high do I have to lift my bikes. So for this last tray, that's going to be 29.5 inches off the ground. Well, with a 45-pound weight capacity, you should be good though. And having the tray or the dual wheel mounts go all the way down means you could put your front tire up and then lift the rest of the bike rack up. You can also make this more compact by pulling this lever, the one you use to tilt away, but this time you lift up against the car and it snaps into place. You can drive around with it in this position. There's a lot of clearance between the car and the rack, about 6 inches away from the bumper. The length this now adds to the back of the car is only 15.5 inches. So big difference compared to when this was in a folded down position. This is how I would have it stored in the garage, and that way I just go outside and load the bikes up. But what is it like living with a bike rack behind you all the time? Well, with it folded up like this, it folds up pretty high, but not too high where it covers your window. So your window is completely visible. It does kind of cover your taillights though, and it definitely covers your license plate. Your backup camera is right there, slightly offset, but still covered by the mast. So it's right over here. What's going to happen is you're going to lose visibility out of your rear camera. If that's a major issue for you, I recommend riding around with this in the down position. But the downside is that you then have a lot of space behind you. You're going to have to think about when you drive around town. So with that in mind, if you want to carry around a lot of bikes, you're also taking up a lot of space. If you want an option that's more compact, check out the Hollywood Rack's Destination 4 Bike Compact Rack. That sits around this high, and it can carry around 4 bikes. But that one is a lot trickier to get the bikes loaded up. This one is super fast with that dual wheel mount design. So hopefully this video helped you out with seeing how easy or how difficult it may be, or you want it to be, to load your bikes up and then get the best fit for you and your adventures. This right here was a look at the RockyMounts GuideRail 3-bike platform rack on our 2019 Toyota Highlander.